Hi everybody, Alex here. We're at Nassau Bay. I'm here at the boat ramp here, and we're next to the Nassau Hilton, and 4 miles out across the water in front of me is the Kemah Bridge, K-E-M-A-H. Look that up. It's Nassau Bay, Highway 146, Kemah Bridge. And we're on Nassau Road 1. The traffic rolling behind me is Nassau Road 1. And we're about half a mile from the entrance to the Johnson Space Center, which is actually closer to where I actually live. But let me pause this. I want to show you something. All right. So, I'll show you. This is Nassau Bay. N-A-S-S-A-U, Nassau. But it's right across the street from Nassau. That's the bridge over there. That's about 4 miles away, the Kemah Bridge. That building right there is not. That is the hotel. That's the Sheraton. I mean the Hilton. That's the Hilton Hotel, Nassau Hilton. I've actually stayed there on business. That hotel's been here 30, 40 years. I remember when I first became an adult, I was like 19, 21. One of these days I'm going to be successful and I'm going to stay there on business. And I was. About 10 years ago I came down here for a conference living in Dallas with some physicians, some anesthesiologists, and we all stayed at that hotel, and it just occurred to me I fulfilled my own little dream. Not that the hotel was all that special, but you know, that's just what it was about at the time. All right, let me show you some other sites. All right. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll over in front of the Space Center so you can get a view of that. Maybe I'll hold it while we go by. But I want to get to the Sonny Carter Neutral Buoyancy Lab in this video because it's about 2 miles away, and we can drive there while we're talking. So why don't we head over there? Now the Sonny Carter Neutral Buoyancy Lab is where they practice for spacewalks. And they have a pool that's full of water. And they go underwater and practice walking in space because they say the neutral buoyancy and the conditions of the spacesuit underwater or training around near a submarine type environment is just like space. So I actually think it would be the opposite, you know, because if you're in a submarine, let's say, and you go down to the bottom of the ocean, the submarine is going to want to implode into a dot. Everything about it just wants to implode. That's why the doors are on the outside, because they're pushing inward. So if you put a submarine in space, you at least would want to turn the doors around so they're on the inside pushing outward, because everything would look like the Michelin Man, or about as tight as your tire on your vehicle if you thumped it. And if you popped it, it would just explode in every direction because there's no pressure outside of it to hold it together. There's, could you imagine on Earth right now, if the pressure that we live under, however many bars, is our normal atmosphere, I guess 1 atmosphere. So if you have your atmosphere removed, what would happen to you? It would hurt. You would just distend and bloat and puff up and be gone. And if you were in a spacesuit in space, doing a spacewalk, actually fixing the space station, I think it would be kind of hard to even move your fingers inside of the glove or your arms or anything. You put that suit on and pressurized it, when else it would just go boom. And one little piece of dust flying at 17,000 miles an hour would make you pop. Hey everybody. I just wanted to show you some really ugly looking 5G cell towers. Look at these. Aren't these amazing? What are those, microwave transmitting dishes, you know? And it's right across the street from NASA. Okay, that's NASA. Let's see if we can go over to the Hang on, let me pop. Well, the trees are kind of in the way, so I can't get a whole picture. But this is NASA Road 1. This is the front of the Space Center with the administration buildings right there. I was just watching, I don't even like to, I was watching Rogan, and he had Chris Hadfield on there. And they were talking about space. And he said he lived in Houston and worked here for 12 years. And I started to really get upset watching the video. So I turned it off and decided to go play with my camera and learn how to do selfie edits. Now, if you remember when we were looking at the boats, I showed you the Hilton Hotel from the boat ramp, which I'm about the same distance on the other side of it now. That's the Hilton Hotel down there going east on NASA Road 1. And we're directly in front of the Space Center. So that's how close the administration is to Nassau Bay and that Hilton right there. And these 5G monstrosities. These big, ugly looking towers. So let's go over to Sonny Carter. All right, so we're driving on NASA Road 1 now. We're heading east towards the Hilton. We're gonna turn left on Space Center Boulevard. Right now we're driving around the perimeter of the NASA complex where my dad and my stepdad work. There's a lot of buildings there, and they do a lot of things. They do a lot of testing. My stepdad, what he did the last part of his career there was he tested those black tiles that went on the shuttle to make sure that they could burn at high temperatures. They actually had a chamber that they made into a vacuum, and they had a plasma. They actually had oxygenator, and they had an anode and a cathode, and they would shoot this fiery plasma across these black tile pieces and measure the data and see which ones burn better, and they would get different composites with different mixes. His first job at NASA, though, that he says was his most important proud moment, was during the Apollo missions. He was on the team of a few guys that actually recorded all of the telemetry and the communications from all of the Apollo missions, which now we've heard those tapes were recorded over because they needed them for something else that was more important. You know, our most important trip ever in civilization of mankind in this root race, and the tapes just got lost. I told him, I said, hey, you might want to go back to NASA and just tell them where you put them, just in case they can't find them, you know. Okay, I want to show you this intersection. If you look, there's the bay right there. There's the water, the boat ramp and everything. On this corner behind me, that's the fence. This is NASA property, that black chain link fence. And in here, there's actually a jogging trail, some baseball fields, a sporting complex, and there's deer that run around in there on NASA property in the fence. Okay, this is the Clear Lake Boulevard entrance to NASA right there. It's called Linkage. That's the Linkage entrance. And a lot of these buildings over here are for maintenance and parts and warehousing. And everything you're looking at here inside of that fence this is the east side of the Johnson Space Center. And here's the nature trail. They actually have a nature trail that rocket scientists and engineers can use, and that's where the deer run around. They get inside of this place. There's the entrance to their sporting complex, the Carruth Center. Baseball diamonds. This was all added in the last, I'd say, 20-something years. 18 to 20 years. Wasn't here 35 years ago. I moved away in, I'm not even going to say what year, it was before 90. Okay, we're still on Space Center Boulevard. There's still the nature jogging trail for NASA employees. And see how wooded that is? That's still Johnson Space Center property. They have a lot of room to expand if they wanted to do other things in the future. And there's actually another entrance coming up, I think. See these power lines? I live down that row, power lines away. But I don't live exactly under the power lines. Here, I wanted to show you another building. If you look down, this is Bay Area Boulevard. See that green glass building out there? That green building, that's Lockheed Martin. That's only one of their buildings here. That's the one I have done some videos in front of. And then in front of us, you've heard of Jack Parsons, the Rocketeer who knew L. Ron Hubbard, and I think a movie just came out about him or is going to. This is the Parsons building. Right there. That's the one that says Parsons on it. Okay, so we're headed to the Sonny Carter Neutral Buoyancy Lab. We're about 4 minutes away. So I'll probably cut this and just get out of the truck and walk it for you. But I wanted to show you some of the surrounding neighborhoods here, you know, so you can just see what it looks like driving around here. It's actually very green, a lot of palm trees, but it's very wooded and heavily wooded everywhere, this whole area. A lot of neighborhoods around here, but you can't really see the homes because they're all covered by trees, you know. To the back cave. It's kind of cavey feel. A lot of these trees actually cross over the road and touch each other and create tunnels that they trim back. So it's actually pretty cool in that regard. But this area, when I was a little kid, this is where all, you know, we thought this is where all the wealthy people live. They're the people that I knew from Friendswood and from church, the Mormon church, that lived out here. They all worked at NASA and they all had these great jobs and prestige, and we're all smart. And these are the neighborhoods now. But it's changing. The neighborhoods are changing, let's say. It's not what it used to be. And the city of Houston, as it expanded, it's gone out further. You have to go all the way down to League City now to get some nice new neighborhoods and designs. Okay, we're still on Space Center Boulevard. And here's where the trees thin out. And this is Ellington Field, Ellington Air Force Base, which is now a commercial airport as well. And we're right next to it. So I'm going to turn in. There's a building next to the Neutral Buoyancy Lab. And it's Sunday, Memorial Day weekend, so I'm just going to turn in, drive to the back, get out, and film. I just want to see. I'm looking at the Air Force Base. Do you remember the footage?